Alyssa was on my show a few years ago because her son said that his father, Denver, had molested him. And after I read the results, emotions exploded. Today, Alyssa, Denver, and Robert are all here to give us an update. But first, watch this.
The last time I was here, last thing I wanted to ever believe was that my son could be a molester. When I heard Alyssa tell the story on stage, it broke my heart. How could my grandson have had to go through what he went through?
I'm a big fan of your show, and I was watching it on YouTube, and this topic was, did you rape or molest my child? My son just so happened to come out. He always comes back and forth, and he jumped on the couch next to me, and he looked up and he said, "Mom, what's that mean?" And I said, "What?" And he said, "Rape and molest." And I explained it to him, and he said, "Oh, like when I was little with Denver."
I mean, I will be the first to admit, he's not the best dad. He doesn't see his son as often as he should, doesn't talk to him as often as he should.
When's the last time Denver saw his son?
It's been over 5 years.
Isn't that a little unusual that a child would remember something from so long ago? Because your son's pretty young.
Yeah, and that's what I thought. But my son doesn't lie. He doesn't know, he just doesn't lie, and he wouldn't make something like this up.
It wasn't until I came to the show that I found out that my own daughter had said that Denver had done these things to her also.
Does it shock you that you hear Denver is being accused of this?
No.
Why not?
Because he has a history of other things.
What's his history?
So his half-sister is also saying that when he lived with them until he moved in with me, that he molested her.
Before the results were read, Steve was extremely tough on Denver about his lack of parenting skills. And you know, Steve was right.
I want to know why you haven't seen your son in 5 years.
Okay, she lives in I live in two different completely sections of Washington State.
I'm sure he can tell
I
that.
don't have a car.
You have a relationship with your father, right?
Yes.
If you said, "Dad, will you take me to go see him?" he wouldn't do that?
He probably would, but
Well,
between
okay, there you
working
go.
2 jobs,
But the point is, I'm not talking about a 3-month window or a 6-month window. We're talking 5 years. When your dad has your son, couldn't you say, "Hey, Dad, when you have my son, can you contact me so I could see or talk to him?" Because you have your dad's phone number, right?
yes.
Okay. You never thought about that angle?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
I
Are
have
you
no
the
ex- I have
dumbest
no
guy
ex-
ever to appear on my stage?
I probably could be.
Did you ever have any physical contact with your son for your own sexual gratification? He answered no. Did you ever have any physical contact with your half-sister, Corinne, for your own sexual gratification? He answered no. The results came back the same to each question, and they came back that Denver told the truth. Alyssa, when you watch that tape, how do you feel?
It brings back a lot of emotions and kind of anger.
Did you think Denver was going to pass? Did you think he was going to fail?
I was very confident that he was going to fail because, of course, as a mom, I believed my son. No question about it. And Denver has such a history of accusations for doing the same thing. How many times can you be accused before people believe that you are that kind of monster?
Yeah. Now, when the results were read, you didn't seem relieved, but I can almost understand your frustration because even though he passed, as you said in the clip, at that time, he was still a bad father because how does anybody go 5 years without seeing their child?
Right. Now it's been 8 years. Denver, after the show, the next day, he reached out to my son on Facebook, and my son immediately brought me his phone and was crying and asked me to block him.
Let's bring Denver in. Denver, are you glad that you came on the show?
Yeah, I am.
Why is that?
Being accused of things like this, I mean, the best thing to do is get your name cleared and, get back to living life and going
that's
to
the
work
sad
and
part with
trying
you.
to fix things.
You're just gonna go back to living life? That shows what kind of father you are right there.
Oh my
Living
God.
life.
So, Denver, my
Seriously?
question to you is, you say you're glad coming on the show, and yeah, you passed the lie detector test, but weren't you embarrassed to have to admit that you hadn't seen your son in 5 years? And from what Alyssa's telling me now, it's been 8 years since you physically
Yeah, I
saw
am.
your son. Is
Yeah,
that
I
true?
am. And
Is that true?
yeah, it's true. And
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Okay.
you
So
know.
Denver, I want you to tell me in some kind of logical sense, how in the world you can bring a son into the world and not see him for 8 years?
well, that's kind of, both parties, because
No,
even when I tried
no, start again. That's a coward's way out, blaming it on her. She's living him with every day. She sees him every day. You are not behind bars. You are not in prison. You could go see your son. Your dad would take
Okay,
you to go
whatever.
see your son. Well, you don't even have a relationship with your father. Why don't you have a relationship with your father?
because we had a falling out.
Over what? Over your son?
That and some other things.
Okay, you know what, Denver? When you start having problems with everybody, sometimes the problem isn't everybody. Sometimes the problem is you. And you have to be mature enough and grown up enough to realize that you are severing the two closest ties that any man could have in his life, his own father and his own son. So I don't think the problem's with Robert or your son. The problem is with you. Maybe you don't love your son. Maybe you don't love your father. Maybe you're just the most selfish prick that I've ever had on my show, and all you care about is yourself. And if you said, yeah, Steve, that's what it is, I'd have a lot more respect for you. Alyssa probably doesn't make things easy. She probably is not going to make it convenient for you. She probably even does some of the things that you say, but why wouldn't she? Why would she help you? You don't help her at all. Do you give her any money at all to help raise your son?
I pay child support.
I get $40
I mean-
here and there.
That's
Come on.
not on me. That is what the state
Yeah,
decided.
oh, okay. Do you need...
I have nothing to do
Okay,
with
do
that.
you need the government to tell you you should support your son in a
That's
decent
not
level
what
of
I'm
support?
saying.
Okay, so Denver, do you think you're a good father?
No.
Denver, no, I don't like you because I don't have no respect for you. You're not a good father. You're not a good son. You're not a good anything right now. But you could change my view if in 2 weeks from now, a month from now, you get off your ass, go see your son, take him to a park, spend some time with him, do whatever he likes, and then I'll have all three of you back on and you can tell me, hey, Steve, I took your advice and I made the effort and I went to go see my son. Then, you know what? My opinion of you might change. How's that sound, Denver?
That's fine. But
Well,
what
we'll see if
Alyssa
it
also
happens.
is-
Hey, thanks for everybody updating us on the show. We're all going to wait with bated breath to see if Denver, after 8 years, went to go see his son. Take care.